I'll blow this nigga's head all over this town. Oh, Lordy Lord, he's desperate. Do what he say. Do what he say.
A real bullet almost ended a scene, and possibly a life. A beloved actor couldn't stop laughing long enough to finish his lines, and one of Hollywood's biggest comedy legends nearly got fired for making this movie. You've seen Blazing Saddles, but you've never seen the madness behind it, Oti, until now. What backstage fight nearly shut down production? Which A-list comedian lost the lead role because the studio didn't trust him? And what iconic scene almost got deleted for being too disgusting? If you think this Western spoof was all beans and jokes, you're way off. We dug through cast interviews, leaked stories, and insider confessions to uncover the raw, messy, and scandalous truth. Buckle up. Things get weird fast. Number 10. Studio tried cutting campfire, fart scene. One of the most iconic moments in Blazing Saddles is undoubtedly the campfire scene where a group of cowboys, after consuming copious amounts of beans, begin farting loudly and unabashedly. While it now stands as a legendary gag in comedy history, the scene was nearly removed from the film entirely. Studio executives at Warner Brothers were reportedly uncomfortable with the lowbrow humor and felt the flatulence was too crude, even for a satire. Mel Brooks recalled the exact studio note: "Lose the fart scene." Brooks famously fought hard to keep the scene in. He believed the moment was a perfect encapsulation of the film's mission: to dismantle the overly serious tropes of Hollywood westerns. As Mel Brooks later explained, when the head of Warner Brothers says to cut the fart jokes from Blazing Saddles, you say, "Yes, sir," and then keep the fart jokes anyways. Just when you thought Blazing Saddles couldn't get any more chaotic, the production turned into a full-blown demolition derby, and not all of it was in the script. Number 9. Set literally torn down during filming. The chaotic climax of Blazing Saddles is one of the most surreal endings in comedy, with characters breaking through their Western film and crashing into other sets on the Warner Brothers lot. While this finale was meant to be wild and unpredictable, some of the destruction shown wasn't entirely staged. Crew members recall that the actual set structures were accidentally damaged during filming. Mel Brooks designed the ending as a bold satire of Hollywood itself, aiming to shatter cinematic conventions. Instead of tying the story up neatly, the film breaks the fourth wall in spectacular fashion. Characters storm through a musical number, disrupt a studio cafeteria, and even spill into a city street. Though much of the chaos was scripted for comedic effect, the scale and energy of the scene led to genuine mayhem. Number 8. Film nearly ended Mel Brooks' career. Before Blazing Saddles became a comedy legend, it almost ended Mel Brooks' directing career. When he showed the first rough cut to Warner Brothers executives, the response was overwhelmingly negative. Studio heads found it offensive, chaotic, and impossible to market. They were alarmed by the racial slurs, crude humor, and frequent breaking of the fourth wall, elements considered far too risky for mainstream audiences at the time.
Check our phony baloney job, gentlemen. We must do something about this immediately. Immediately. Harumph, 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 harumph. I didn't get a harumph out of that.
But Brooks held firm. He refused to water down the content, insisting that its edge and satire, mocking racism, Western cliches, and Hollywood itself, were what made it powerful and funny. Instead of compromising, he arranged a test screening for a real audience. Number 7. Richard Pryor, originally cast, lost role. In the 1970s, Richard Pryor wasn't just a groundbreaking comedian. He was a cultural force, known for fearless stand-up and razor-sharp social commentary. Few realize he was Mel Brooks' first choice to play Sheriff Bart in Blazing Saddles. Pryor co-wrote the script and was key in shaping its bold, satirical voice. His humor, especially on race, gave the film its sharp edge, and Brooks believed Pryor could bring both weight and wit to the role.
We like go to the bars and watch fights. People love to fight when they get drunk. I used to watch them. Especially, they always want to fight Orwell. Orwell was a friend of mine that fought the police.
Pryor was deeply invested in the project and saw comedy as a weapon against racism, honest, provocative, and unflinching. But despite his creative genius, Warner Brothers balked. Pryor's history of substance abuse and unpredictable behavior worried studio executives who refused to insure him. Without coverage, casting him became impossible. Number 6. Sheriff's gun accidentally had a real bullet. During the production of Blazing Saddles, a terrifying incident nearly turned tragic. In one scene involving Cleveland Little, who played Sheriff Bart, his prop gun was mistakenly loaded with a live round instead of a blank. According to crew members in later retrospectives, the error was caught just moments before filming the take, barely avoiding a potential disaster.
I swear I'll blow this nigga's head all over this town. Oh, Lordy Lord, he's desperate. Do what he say. Do what he say.
At the time, the incident wasn't widely reported, as studios often kept such dangers quiet to protect the film's image. However, it reflected the more relaxed safety standards of 1970s Hollywood, particularly concerning firearms. In response to the close call, the prop master was reportedly replaced, and stricter safety measures were quickly implemented. Just after a near tragedy rocked the set, one actor's completely unscripted line would go on to steal the spotlight, and nobody saw it coming. Number 5. That's a real Slim Pickins reaction. Slim Pickins, known for tough Western roles in films like Dr. Strangelove and the Cowboys, brought surprising authenticity to Blazing Saddles. Mel Brooks cast him as Taggart to play against type. Pickins was used to serious, no-nonsense cowboys, not the absurd caricatures of satire. That contrast worked brilliantly, especially in one unforgettable moment. Pickins ad-libbed the now iconic line, "Somebody go back and get a load of dimes."
Take the good time and trouble to slaughter every last Indian in the West, and for what? So they can appoint a sheriff that's blacker than any Indian. I am depressed.
The toll booth scene where the line appears is classic Blazing Saddles absurdity. Placing a toll booth in the middle of a desert mocks the ridiculous conveniences often found in old Western plots. Number 4. Count Dracula has a cameo. Seriously, in the middle of Blazing Saddles' famously unhinged climax, where characters break the fourth wall and charge through neighboring film sets, there's a blink and you all miss it moment that baffles first-time viewers. Count Dracula briefly appears in the background. Wearing a cape and full vampire regalia, the character passes through the chaos with no explanation. Brooks was already developing young Frankenstein during the final stages of Blazing Saddles, and the cameo was his way of planting a seed for fans. While the Dracula costume wasn't a direct nod to Frankenstein lore, it hinted at Brooks's upcoming foray into classic horror parodies. The moment also reinforced Blazing Saddles' rebellious spirit. It didn't just spoof westerns, it demolished the idea of genre boundaries altogether. Number 3. Harvey Korman couldn't stop breaking character. Harvey Korman's portrayal of the villainous Hedley Lamar in Blazing Saddles is a masterclass in exaggerated evil with just the right touch of ridiculousness.
It'll be worth millions, and I want it. I want that land so badly. I can taste it. There must be a way. Clumsy fool.
I'm sorry.
But behind the scenes, Corman had a hard time keeping it together. Known for his work on The Carol Burnett Show, where corpsing, theater slang for breaking character by laughing, was practically part of the comedy, Corman brought that same unpredictable energy to the Blazing Saddles set. The problem? He couldn't stop laughing at the film's outrageous jokes, especially his own. Number 2. The ending was rewritten 5 times. The ending of Blazing Saddles is one of the most famously chaotic in comedy history. But it wasn't always that way. Early drafts ended more traditionally, with Sheriff Bart and the Waco Kid riding off into the sunset after saving the town. Mel Brooks felt this conclusion was too safe and failed to match the film's wild, irreverent tone. Determined to find something bolder, he rewrote the finale 5 times, searching for a climax as outrageous as the rest of the movie. What he ultimately created was a complete genre collapse. The characters break the fourth wall, storm through other studio sets, and even wind up at a Hollywood premiere of Blazing Saddles itself. The ending drew heavy inspiration from Looney Tunes, especially Chuck Jones's Duck-a-Muck, where Daffy Duck fights against his cartoon reality. And just when you thought the chaos ended with breaking the fourth wall, the final and fiercest controversy was still raging behind the scenes. Number 1. The N-word. Debate behind the scenes. One of the most intense creative battles behind Blazing Saddles happened in the writer's room, and it revolved around the use of the N-word.
As chairman of the Welcoming Committee, it is my privilege to extend a laurel and hearty handshake to our new nigger.
Mel Brooks, who co-wrote and directed the film, was initially uncomfortable including the racial slur in the script. He feared it would alienate audiences and distract from the satire. But Richard Pryor, the groundbreaking comedian and one of the film's co-writers, strongly disagreed. Pryor argued that sanitizing the language would weaken the film's message. To expose the ugliness of racism, he believed the film had to portray it in its raw, unfiltered form, even if it made people squirm. Pryor's argument was that Blazing Saddles wasn't just a comedy, it was a weapon. He insisted the film confront racism directly, using the language of bigots to mock them and hold a mirror to the audience. Now, if that blew your mind, just wait till you see what we've got next. Hit that like button if you learned something new, drop a comment with your favorite Blazing Saddles moment, and don't forget to subscribe for more untold Hollywood chaos. And hey, watch the next video on your screen for even more behind-the-scenes drama you won't believe.